when I pulled up the Sing Sing, they've got everything going there. There's a prostitution ring going at the time with the COs.
Did that translate? So you're doing all this key block in downstate in your reception. When you went to your spot, how did that go? And did that start you on the side? So you obviously got county solitary time. You got key block, which for those who don't know is just you're locked in your cell all day. Still on like the normal tier, but you're locked in. You got key block in reception, and then you go to wherever your first spot is, and you're kind of jump right in.
Okay, so my mentality was, I guess if you would say a little too big for my britches. I was trying to be not even more so something that I wasn't, but something that I wanted to be more than anything, because I felt like it's what I needed to be at the time. Like, as far as I understood it, like, I need to, like, I got to be super blood. Like, I got to be able to out everything, everybody. So I go from there and I go to Sing Sing, which is a sweet spot. Like, in comparison to other facilities, the shit that goes on there, especially if you're from that area, lower New York, you want to be there. At any given time, there's more drugs in certain facilities than there are in comparable housing projects, in parts of the country. Like, so when I pulled up the Sing Sing, they've got everything going there. There's a prostitution ring going at the time with the COs, right? So you could pay some money and you could meet a CO that'll come to your cell, if you're on a certain gallery, and get that up to you and you can get your splash on.
Wow.
There's more like there's a grand selection of drugs there, from whatever you like to do. If you like the synthetic pot, if you like real pot, if you like blow, dope, all types of pills, the designer shit that you'll find on the street. There could be someone in the yard, rubbing on his chest in the middle of an e-pill, trip for the time being. And he's just enjoying a Wednesday night because he's got a little extra money, So it's a place that you kind of want to be. And there's also that collective of, we're all from down here. We all enjoy this. Let's not all fuck this up, which is something that I noticed more so up north that you'll have, that you won't have in the counties, which is a nuclear deterrence, if you will. The guaranteed assurance of guaranteed mutual destruction, where the Latin Kings that have a 72 count and the Bloods that have a 140 count won't clash at each other just because one individual and another individual, had a bad business interaction, so there was more of that. When I got the Sing Sing, I got into a circle. There's a group of people, 5 of us, 6 of us standing in a circle, because you're not allowed to group more than that. And they're discussing how, a certain Latin King individual had did something with the money, and they ended up owing some money. It was a bad transaction, drug transaction. And they were like, yo, that's an assured plate. We're going to label him as a plate. It's guaranteed right there. And I'm in the middle of a conversation, and I hear all this, and I'm not speaking much. I recognized one of the brothers in the conversation. I tapped him shoulder, told him to come with me. We spun the yard. I got to the point where the boy was. I spit out my number 11 razor, which doesn't ring. It's a surgical scalpel. And I say spit it out was because it was attached to a small handle fashioned out of a bottle cap that I continuously chewed until it was malleable enough to give me enough of a grip, which I fastened it, slightly taped around it, and melted it until it was a decent enough hold to hold between my forefinger and my thumb. And I say spit it out because it was in a small sheath made out of plastic itself in my mouth. So, took it out, split it in the face. I spun back around and got back to the circle. While I was spinning back to the circle where the homies were at, the dude that was cut walked up to the bubble, the gate, the front gate, holding his face, pointing out, and I shit you not, I got back. I said, yeah, that's taken care of. He said, what's taken care of? I said, oh, that Lion King dude, he's been clapped. And I swear, the group dispersed immediately. Everybody walked in their own direction. And that's when I had first learned the hard way that a lot of times people will talk and not have any weight or substance behind their words. And that was certainly one of those situations.
So that you actually shouldn't have done
right
that.
up to him. No one should do that.
Well, yeah, but
never. No one should do that.
yeah.
But I certainly took it upon myself, and I was thinking, personally, 20-year-old me was thinking, I'm about to put on. They ain't seen nothing yet. I didn't have anything in downstate. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to clean this plate. They'll be able to say, hey, as soon as BL got here, he touched something, which is why he's in the position he's at, to where people don't tell him what. That was my whole mindset. I never liked people telling me what to do, and I didn't ever want to be put in a position where somebody felt like they could tell you what to do, because at the end of the day, they're organized, but it's still organized outlaws. I mean, we're still brothers, but we're grown-ass men, so nobody can tell you what to do unless you allow someone to tell you what to do, and it's whatever situation you put yourself in anywhere in life.
Mm-hmm.
So I was always at the forefront myself, and I didn't find myself being given orders. So anyways, I digress. That was a bad decision. They snatched my ass up.
Right there in the spot?
Snatched me up. Get back up there. Keep block time. They didn't have a weapon on me. I wrapped up from keep pack. All my shit's packed up. I didn't even have anything that wasn't state issued at the time still. So I get sent to upstate box, which is Canada. Basically Canada. I got sent to Canada. Which is right by Clinton, Franklin, Bear Hill. And my victim was sent to Greenhaven box, which is still in the same hub as Sing Sing. So you really couldn't have two people farther apart in New York State, north and south, really. I guess if you went all the way out west. But I go to my hearing. Where is this person that I allegedly assaulted? He can't be produced. I got lucky. My first and only time getting lucky up north. It was my second time. Well, I guess 2 times got lucky. But it was my first of 2 times where I was able to get away with something that I did do. I mean, they got me for stuff I didn't do, so I'm pretty sure I could, they have to level out certain ways.
Yeah.
But there is a trend there that I did spend. I did have a lot of hearings. So that was the mentality that I went up north with. That was what was instilled in me in the county. That was all fabricated, because before that, I had none of that in me. Like, I didn't have any of that in me. I didn't have the gumption to take it upon myself to go do shit. I didn't have the desire to want to be accepted and to be made noteworthy in any circles. I was always worried about me. It was never, what does somebody else think? And that was the effect that ended up having, and it created, something, I guess, even more than that. It created something that I always had to deal with.
Wow. What? So that when you got out of did you do any time for anything else if you didn't get caught for that in the box? And what jail were you sent to? Prison were you sent to now? And then how did that end up sending you back to solitary?
Okay, so I stayed in in upstate box. They let me out into the population, into upstate cadre. Now, upstate box is that's the facility. It's upstate correctional facility. It is a super maximum correctional facility, and a lot of facilities will have also a box like the one you were referring to, which is kind of its second facility, but we'll refer to them really as auxiliary facilities
Mm-hmm.
because they function by themselves, but also interwoven with the main facility they're on. The upstate, so the box like the shoe that we would walk by in Collins, that's Collins shoe,
Mm-hmm.
and well, special housing unit, Collins box, and it holds up to 200 inmates, which is 100 cells, ideally 2 men per cell. Um, Upstate houses 2,000 inmates, and
Man.
it's all box. Everybody in there. If you're not in the cadre, which services the people in the box, you're just in the box. And in upstate box, it's 8 buildings. No, it's 10 buildings. Not all of them are numbered. And they're all tall stanchions, right? And you could imagine these towers, if you will, some facing each other, some in adjacent positions to each other, with wires, not wires, I'm sorry, lines. But if from afar they look like power lines,
Yeah.
but they're actual lines from bed sheets going across. And I mean, these buildings aren't remotely like close to each other, and people can only fish from their cells. So you have lines. So if I could get something from this building I'm in, which is on the north side of things, to a building literally 6 buildings away, which would take up what, 70 yards through the line system, it's as complex as it sounds. It's as intricate as it sounds, and it works efficiently. And it's become to the point where COs in normal counties, I mean in normal boxes, will cut down the lines. They
Yeah.
don't, because you'd be wasting your time, because you'd be doing it all day. I've literally seen a CO walk by and cut a line, the person in the cell come out. This fucking cop just came out here and undid my damn line. Oh my God, I can't believe this shit. Grab his little soapbox, get under it. Line
Have a
goes
new
fishing
one up.
across, the shit's reestablished, and he pull new one up, and he pulls back some shit just off of GP just to make sure it works. Hey, send me a magazine real quick, and
Yeah.
he pulls in a magazine, and he sends somebody out like a granola cookie, and he gets on his damn line just for the day itself. But I've seen more drugs and cash money in that facility than I've seen anywhere else. I've seen some people in their cells with wads of cash this thick. I've
Wow.
seen people with full, like, they had the pills back then, a handful of pills of Suboxone on their gate willing to sell it. And the cadres, you could make a small fortune in there, because you could sell a half of a $3 pouch of loose tobacco for $50 cash
Wow.
to somebody in a cell.
For
So I don't know how that works.
for anyone that didn't catch it or doesn't know, the cadre are prisoners, but they're not solitary inmates. They're at the facility as workers to bring the food around, clean up, do all that stuff. So you got 2,000 guys in a box, desperate for anything they can get. If these guys get tobacco, drugs, pussy books, that stuff sells for 8 to 10 times even what it is in normal population, if not more. But I never saw that place, Upstate Box. That must be incredible. Fishing
Absolutely.
like that.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. I remember meeting some guys too that got a lot of drugs, and would intentionally get a small box bid because they knew they could make 8 to 10 times the money in there. That's, that's crazy. It's, how long did you do an upstate box?
Yeah,
And
and you found dudes that didn't want to leave there.
yeah. Yeah. How
I was
long?
there for just a few months until I got reclassified. So my initial hearing took a, a little over a month. I think 7 weeks was the initial hearing before I got through the process of it. And because they took their time to bring forth a witness, but they couldn't. So, and that was my
Yeah.
only option out of it was, hey, who is this person,
Yeah.
So since that didn't work and that for them, they took their time and they let me back out. No, they let me out to the cadre. So I served in the cadre for a while. And then once it got down in classification, because, they were ready, I guess, immediately to have me maximum A. Like I shouldn't have, when you come in with less than 7 years, you're not supposed to be at a maximum facility prison, even if it is a maximum B, like Sing Sing is. You're supposed to go to a medium facility. So medium security facility. So maybe they had made a clerical error because when they took a while, left me up there for a couple of months when it should have just taken them, until the next draft. You sent me out,
Yeah.
but I eventually got sent to Fishkill, which is back down towards Long Island where I'm from, and it's a medium A, and it was one of those facilities that you'd say isn't like that at first. It wasn't. It had just finished a wave. It just finished a wave of violence. So my trips there were really just for not fitting in. I remember I got sent from the box for. I remember I stood on the count. I stood on the count. I was taking my psych meds, which I stopped doing. I was doing it for a while, staying on point with them, but I had to stop because it was taking me out of my out of. But I always embraced and took my psych meds when I was in the box because that meant I could sleep for 14
Yeah.
hours, and I always found myself in the box. So I never told them to stop. But what I would do was I'd tuck them, spit them out as soon as I get out of the infirmary, and continue. So for my whole time up north, I only took my pills when I was in the box, but I took my pills on a regular enough basis that I was still seeing a social worker every 3 weeks. I
Yeah.
was still classified, increasing as a level 1S with the S for suicide watch. I was still definitely under their understanding a mental patient, because I very much was, but I couldn't allow that edge to be taken off. I couldn't allow myself to be lethargic. Couldn't allow myself to be sleeping all the time when I had to be accountable for at least 63 other people in my dorm. So my first trip to the box in Fishkill was there's a stupid 8 p.m. 9, I don't know, 10 o'clock count. I was in the dorm before then, and it was a real quiet part of the jail. Like there is a part of the jail that's just old people. Like it's mad chill and laid back. I got up for the count, in my drawers. And I just stood there, which I had, behind, you need a cubicle. So I'm behind the thing. I got a divider, and I didn't put two and two together that, because there is a female working there, that she's going to get all up in her shit and automatically feel offended that the least threatening image of a guy, which is white mid-range socks, white boxers, and a white t-shirt rubbing his eyes, is supposed to be some type of me coming on to her, which nobody bought, but she did they called it pulling the pin. You know, where they have the walkie-talkie, and if you pull a pin on the walkie-talkie, it's the SOS signal, and they're supposed to come running. And please don't be around if that ever happens, because they will come running. But yeah, she told them, oh, take that guy out of here, and I went to the box, I think, for 2 weeks. They were just like, she tried to go tier 3 on it, and she wrote it on there, tier 3. She tried to, hem me up for some shit, but I'm like, look, man, I was on psych meds. What are you gonna do? This is a psych med facility. I was groggy
Yeah.
and sleepy, so excuse me,
Wow.
and they'll let me out. But each time after that, more and more time. But yeah, so there has really been like a solitary magnet on me throughout my
Yeah.
entire time serving my time, where I found myself in there for everything.
And it got longer and longer.
So in Fishkill, I had several short stays. I had 2 long stays in Fishkill. I was there for 2 years. So I'd already walked into Fishkill with shit, man. Like, I left the county with 8 months of box time. I got another 2 in downstate, which of a key block, which makes it which brings us up to 10. I had
Yeah.
that month and change, and I spent in upstate. So I'm looking at close to a year of my first 2 years.
In
Not even the
solitary.
full 24 months I've already spent in solitary.
Wow.
So like, it's just been a part of it. So in Fishkill, I had a few trips. I remember I did have this one fight that came during right towards Thanksgiving, to which it lapped into the whole holiday.
Yeah.
And it was a 30-day fight, but I'm in the box, and somebody that they take us in a small box to bring us outside for yard for 1 hour a day. Somebody in there had something to smoke. We're in the small box yard, not caring, because we just got smoked. We got caught smoking the extra 15 days, turning 32 or 45. For a
Yeah.
light fight. That could have been nothing, but was already my second tier 2. So that was the first little inkling of how you could always stretch just a little touch in there and then a little something extra. And I got a 3-month sentence for a dirty urine, where they cracked down on us because somebody was snitching and caught up with us. And then because of the way that they set up their drug policies, if you will, your first one, up to 3 months, which they kind of mandate you get 3 months. Your second one is up to 6 months, and they mandate you get at least three months. So I was the first person to catch a ticket for K2. They couldn't
Wow.
prove that I had it in my system, but I caught a whole episode in the South Yard in Fishkill. Yeah, I smoked that shit, bugged out, tripping out,
Oh.
rolling around, hands all over the place. I think I might have mooned the dude. Next thing you know, I'm laying on the floor with the legs chugging, but I'm not going anywhere, doing this with my hands and shit.
Doing the
And they pulled
bicycle
out a gun,
abs.
grabbed me up, brought me down, wrote me that ticket. Doing
Oh,
the ab bicycle
man.
crunches, shooting the fingers like that, like they. And I
I
had a
can.
full blown trip in my head, like I remember it and all that. So like, uh-huh.
Oh, no, I was gonna say I could
Yeah.
for
So like
the people that don't know.
that was the 6 monther. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the people that imagine like 80, 100, 200 inmates just walking around doing their own thing, basketball, handball, but everyone's got there's a movement and an atmosphere of things are quote normal, and then somebody just losing their mind like a half seizure, half psychotic break after like 2010, 11, that started to become a normal thing in New York prison yards because the K2 was everywhere and it was so unpredictable. Oh man,
Yeah.
that's insane.
Yeah. changed the dynamic of things, because that really did change the game.
For sure.
You know, them, you know, we can leave it on this note and we can discuss that for a second, because that did, bro, that really changed the game on things, because everybody always had the test, and, you know, everybody always get caught up and you have to worry about flushing and waking up early. But with the K2, at least until they developed the estrogen level test for it, you had a whole grace period where people kind of got as high as they wanted, and they were also playing roulette. Because you have some things, you know, you roll a big old joint and, you know, you smoke with a few people or with two people and you'll be fine. And then you got some strains that come out because of the chemical composition. You roll a skinny spider leg, you take 2 hits of that and you off to the moon, Alice. Like, that's where I found myself. You know, I was in ASAT for the first time there. And the huge irony of it was, my big bro, he was the facilitator for the one part of ASAT. They had, you know, 2 parts of ASAT on that part of the prison. And I pull up and they like, yo, this dude's college educated. He's well-spoken. He's articulate as fuck. How about you lead ASAT over here? So you could be the facilitator for ASAT over here. So I got a nice cube. The police aren't on my ass. Like, I get a short-ass day because I don't have any other things to do. I'm running the ASAT thing, so I'm coming up there, you know, talking my BS and, you know, all the good talk and all that good stuff. And then I head out to the yard right after ASAT's done. And I hit the K2. There was just 2 times, man. Yo. And I wish I could have said, yo, that was the last time I smoked K2. But it wasn't.
Oh.
It wasn't, man, because it was too easy to get a hold of. It was everywhere, and in some facilities, like when you got to Western New York, people didn't even want the regular stuff. People didn't even want the bud. Everybody wanted the K2 stuff. Nobody wanted to smoke regular pot anymore. Everybody wanted that crazy rush, that full-headedness, that fucking night at the opera, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Man. That's what that was, man. That was a trip of all trips.
Well, like you said, too.
That was a trip above trips,
that's
man.
Part of the
way that they had that set up, that facilitated that.
That's a high in itself, is the, you know, like, I'm going to smoke this thing and I almost don't know what I'm going to get. If it's weed, I know how I'm going to feel. But that was a little bit of a high because it's that unknown, that unpredictability. You know, so we're in the bathroom all taking a hit at K2, and I might take 1 hit, 2 hits, and sit on my bed and listen to a song, and that's the end of it. Or I might take 2 hits, and I am, you know, borderline seizure for 6 hours like this on my bed. You don't know. Yeah. That's crazy.
It was so dope, too, because I remember when things would first come out, when people would first get their pack, they would purposely wait until you could go try it out in the bathroom, because just in case somebody spazzed it out, you could run them under some water real quick.
Oh, man.
You could rush them over to the shower and throw them in there real quick,
and then
so that, you know, they could immediately get taken care of.
That is crazy. Oh, well, we're going to end here for now with this K2 nuts, and we're going to do an episode 2, you know, in a couple weeks here with BL and really dig into some of the effects of solitary, because I know a lot of the rest of his bid was in solitary, like you said, getting longer and longer. And thank you, man, for coming on. Anybody new here, hit that like, that subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. BL, give us those. Give me that closing goodbye. However you want to say it, whatever you want to say.
Well, man, I just want to appreciate you for having me on here, and I hope that, you know, just like I know you do all the time, that I could kind of get in on this, lending some insight for your audience out there and anybody out there that, you know, just wants to know a little bit more about all these things in life that the normal person doesn't consider on a daily basis that seem to have tremendous impacts on many people, not just the ones that directly go through it, but their families and even the people that come into their lives afterwards.
That is so accurate and so true.
Yeah, it's definitely the closing. Definitely want to wish that peace.
I appreciate that, my man. All right, everybody, BL and K Rugs, Soberdogs, and we're out. See ya.